It is stochastic fiction game time. All right. I'm trying to get enthused for this game of writing. It'll take place in 2 hours when I hit go right here. To be able to actually create the game, what we're trying to achieve here, as you see, there's no file created. Until then, I go ahead and I do a Python, execute a script. This will generate an outline, the stochastic fiction outline. And the stochastic fiction outline is going to have a set of story parameters. See, we now have this file right here. Inside this file are story elements. Within the story elements, a story will become. In 2 hours, I'm going to give myself a chance to write a story based upon these story elements. Let's see what they are and what this challenge will be. This is the stochastic fiction game outline for today, with story elements setting, time, present, setting, main location, tunnel, conflict, person versus destiny, quantity of primary characters, mini, point of view, third, tense, present tense, genre, science fiction, format, flash fiction. Well, those are the story elements for today's flash fiction game. Main location is in a tunnel. Present, person versus destiny, mini, third, present tense, science fiction, flash fiction. Format. Well, I think I can write a story on that in a tunnel. Within the amount of time. The destiny part's a little interesting. And this needs to be science fiction, which makes setting time present, a little bit less relevant because we're doing science fiction. And, if you're doing science fiction, your time could be anywhere. You could be a time traveler. I'm going to resist that time traveling right now because that just seems to me a little too easy and a little bit too awkward. I don't want to get into, I don't know. I just don't want it to be about time travel. I don't need to do that. That doesn't sound too much fun today. And it has to be in present time. So let's take things about the present and make them reflective in the story. I'll, of course, include the usual things I write towards likening this is, God, sex, government. In this case right here, we got conflict, person versus destiny. So they have to go there. They're destined to go there. And this is science fiction destiny, which is a little bit odd to me. Let's get these story elements. Present tense, flash fiction. So we got to start it off strong and have some sort of resolution in the conflict. Mini character, sure. More than one. Just got to remember that. Destiny and tunnel. What comes to mind right now? Maybe this person's got a chip implant in their head and they're dying. And they're traveling down that path of light. But maybe not. Maybe their mind is just getting uploaded. That could be what the tunnel is. The tunnel could be a wormhole tunnel. Maybe but it's got to be like present. Present science fiction. Of course, time travel could be present. And technically it is. It's all time. You're traveling time. Person versus destiny. Let's figure that out. What's the destiny? We're all destined to travel in time now. And we're all destined to die. Makes this a little bit more dark, for sure. Like, yeah. That's just dark. Excuse me. But maybe why not? If it's science fiction, things could be going crazy right now, and I'm just not aware of it. There could be governmental forces creating diabolical machines that, are present right now. And I just don't know. I don't want to go too dystopia, but I do like the person versus destiny, and everyone's destined to die. People believe they're destined to greatness. Maybe they're destined to travel down a tunnel. So my initial, if I was going to go death, because this is science fiction, then I'd probably throw in the fact this person has some sort of mind chip or some sort of way their brain is getting read and interpreted. And maybe they are dying, and maybe they are going down the tunnel, and maybe they're thinking they can actually see it or prove that there's an afterlife with this injection of the chip, and there's nothing proven. The person just dies. That's one idea for the tunnel. I got a couple more minutes. I want to figure this out. That's my fallback one. There's the wormhole idea, but that's a little bit too science fiction-y for me right now. Like, I'd have to... Maybe they use alien technology. Maybe that's it. That's pop culture these days. At least the data streams I consume, the whole, search for the alien again. And then the government officials saying that there's aliens that exist, they just can't report it. Excuse me again. Yeah, maybe aliens. Maybe aliens got this wormhole and their destiny. I mean, isn't that sort of a play on time itself as destiny? You'd have this time travel that's destined to time travel, that's destined to time travel, that's destined to time travel. Some infinite loop of destiny. Maybe that's the tunnel of time. I like that idea, but I don't know if I could pull it off in a flash fiction stories effectively. It doesn't seem like something that's easy to do, nor something I'd want to attempt, at this time at least. That steps me back to the death. And that's like a shocking beginning, right? You can say someone's dying. And maybe that's the tunnel right there. See a bright light. Maybe. You'd have to somehow have someone who has a brain implant now. Maybe a brain scan, a CAT scan. It is science fiction. That's why it'd be easier doing this time travel thing. Maybe I can write a loop somehow. Like this is just a time traveling tunnel. Do I have the mind to even try to do a flash fiction story time travel? And I mean, I think I've done that before, to be honest. I'm thinking of someone, there was some space person that went through a wormhole and was playing Bloody Mary. Yeah, it was weird. But that involved time travel in a way. The person was in space. I think they went through a wormhole, a tunnel like this. I feel like I've written a lot of stories with wormholes. And so it seems a little bit mundane and boring, and a theme I go back to when I hit science fiction and time travel, or even just travel in itself. I'm thinking specifically of video game flash fiction games that have to do with weird warping things. A bunch of wormholes there, so that's kind of boring. Boring to me because I've written it and I want to write something new or try to be challenged enough. I'm coming back to the death idea. This person having some sort of implant. Science fiction. This is all science fiction, right? So even though it's present, I can just enhance the overall chip that exists right now, that it can actually embed and read someone's mind and download it, and they're dying. And I got to do this. Maybe, how would I have this end? I think I've already got the ending in mind. Maybe I have the ending in mind. Who knows? I got to write it first. I got to write the beginning. The destiny. Everyone's destined to die. I think I'm going to go with it. I'm not in the mood right today to write another, even if it would be interesting, like this infinite loop of a time traveler that just time travels the same spot over and over. You get caught in a time travel loop. I'm sure there's some cool name someone's thought of that for that, maybe it's a ripple, a time ripple, who knows. And this is just going to be, someone dying who has a brain implant. And they're downloading his mind, their mind, her mind, its mind. Who knows? Am I going to gender this person? If I had a dice, I'd roll it right now and decide on gender and let chance, because it really doesn't matter. I'm not going to have either one of these perform any sort of feats that require a specific gender to have behind it. So It doesn't really matter. Maybe I have an awkward name. One that has no sort of nationality to it. Well, it'd be like an American name. Maybe a non-gendered American name. Stick with the names that I know I can at least I'm familiar with, better can write with, therefore. So we're gonna have this person dying, but we gotta like call out first paragraph that they got some brain implant, and then I gotta think of a name. Flynn. If it is something like Fran, I think I've done Fran lately. By lately, in the past year. Humphrey? No. Hubert? No. I haven't done a Hubert. I don't think I've ever had a character named Hubert. Zoki? Ooh. No, I want to be something a little bit less made up. Because I'll leave the science fiction and the entire story to make something up. I'm more familiar with the idea of probably some startup. So we got to have a character. I don't want to start up with the startup being the protagonist. They're more the antagonist here. And hence the reason it'll be in America, because they've got more startup technology. They got a section of land where a lot of startups exist. And for that matter, they got a lot of startups that even go in the virtual environment. I'm just going to go with what I know because I have a limited amount of time. And it's already been about 12 minutes of me just talking, trying to figure this out. So let's go ahead and start with the death. Yes. Yes, the death. Of who? I mean, I didn't think of like names of people I know that are sort of genderless because they've been used by both genders. I'm thinking like Randy, Trudy. Yeah. That's where I'm lost right now. Uh, let's just name them Zoe. And what's Zoe doing, man? Like I don't know. Zoe's doing something. Excuse me again. Zoe dies. I don't know. Zoe dies, I guess. Zoe's mind flatline. That's the only thing I can think of. All right. So if I do Zoe dies, I gotta have some sort of device in their mind, and the tunnel they see is that supposed tunnel of death. Maybe bright light, but I think it's gonna be nothing. I think the person just dies at the end. This would be some sort of startup that wants to see if there's life after death. Zoe is a person with a brain implant. They're trying to download her thoughts. It's science fiction, present, so we're just going to accelerate this now more real idea of a brain implant that exists. It's going to kill people. It's going to kill a lot of people. In this case, it actually works, I think. So Zoe, I can't even think. I want to have them dying. Yeah, I think so. So dies. So what's the act of dying? Let's show it. Heartbeat fades. I got an hour and 44 minutes to write this flash fiction story. And it's going slow and painfully bad already. I don't know if I like the idea of where the story's going. So if I had setting time present, setting main location in a tunnel. Tunnel's going to be that tunnel people think they walk down when they die, but it'll just be an imagination, a creation of the mind. Destiny, person versus destiny, we all die. Not many of us try to get their mind uploaded. Many characters, there'll be 2 at least. Corporation and this person. Third person got that present tense going there, genre science fiction, and then flash fiction. So I got 800 words to tell this story about. Let's just, well, her brain implant downloads her thoughts, her brain, her mind. The monitor. Okay, so that's at least an indication. If your heart's slowing, let's put her in a spot in which seems like it's possible to be able to download. So now I'm going to have to show, this is lame. So his heartbeat fades while her brain implant downloads her mind. While her brain implant downloads her mind. While her mind is downloaded from her yes. Or while her mind downloads. I think that's decent. They want to capture this, fun concept of life after death. Shallow hope of humanity. Zoe's heartbeat. Let's put a possessive of that heartbeat. Fades while her mind downloads. That's not a bad introduction sentence. And then just go through the whole process. So the whole first paragraph is at least going to set up the scene where her real body is at. I mean, I don't I got to set up very quickly and get into her actually mind. So I'm in third person right now. Omniscient. I'm outside the body as a witness of this person dying. And I'm supposed to write now a story of what it's like in her mind getting downloaded, thinking it's a tunnel, and then end with death, or maybe life, or maybe there is an afterlife. All right, I got an hour and 41 minutes left. I got a decent entrance sentence. So Zoe's heartbeat fades while her mind downloads. Let's talk about her body. Her body. I mean, I'm not going to have a quiver. I don't want him to get. Her body relaxes. And I can just at least start placing it where that body is. So it'll be on an operating table. I mean, it wouldn't really necessarily be on an operating table. They're not looking to operate. They're looking to be able to give the body a chance to lay down as it dies so they could download her mind and see if they can capture some sort of sense of afterlife. we can make this into some sort of weird, startup, the afterlife startup. But I don't want to. I don't. Let's get this scene, and then we'll elevate whoever the antagonist is. Trying to download her mind to see if there's an afterlife. It's going there. The tunnel part, I got to write in that, like the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel. Right? Everyone claims this is the trope I'm going off of. If I'm going to do a science fiction conflict, person versus destiny, everybody dies. I'm at least hitting those story elements right now. She dies. A light tunnel appears before Zoe. And her heart monitor flatlines. I don't know. This is lame. Flatlines. Okay. So there's at least an entrance to a paragraph. Man, this sucks. But let's go with it. Let's make it something. Don't have time to reconsider. We already got some idea of a story. As ridiculous as it is, let's make it a decent science fiction. So Zoe's heartbeat fades while her mind downloads. Her body relaxes while her heart monitor tones, flat lines, this is let's get the light tunnel. I like that. I like the light tunnel appearing before Zoe. That's a lot of trope, a lot of the science fiction, fantasy, whatever. Light tunnel appears before Zoe. And then I can have people, I guess, talking on the outside who are trying to interpret what's going on. This is, of course, imagining her mind downloads thoughts. Her thoughts. Yeah, this is science fiction. Project. From a screen. Flashing. Instances of Zoe's. What kind of, like, what are we looking at as far as character wise? This is Zoe. Fantastic. So this person is gonna be young, willing to put a chip in their mind, and willing to. So I got to summarize this somehow in a sentence, like 3 thoughts that will build up not only the character Zoe, but hopefully better tell why Zoe is laying here. Because I have the reason in my mind, but it seems pretty ridiculous right now why this person's even here. So the 3 flashes, screen flashing instances of Zoe's life, leading to a tunnel, a glowing tunnel before her. Her thoughts project on a screen flashing instances of life. I don't know about the leading. I gotta get the instances of life before I throw out the tunnel, because now I want to write about the tunnel. So flashing instances always life when she was blah blah, when she was this. Growing. Man, this is. I gotta think of an entire character's life and summarize into 3 instances to hopefully lead up and tell where this story is at. Sharing thoughts. The peeing of a brain implant. Man. From what? From winning basketball state championship. They're athletic. Let's make it a single athlete. Winning golf. Zoe's life. From then do scholarship. So let's go sports scholarship study. That way it'll show this person's sort of got at least health. This person then has a mind, and then this person goes on and uses that mind, and that's sort of why they're part of this. From and at least people in the United States will at least understand what high school is. High school state championship. They'll have some. Most will understand that. They've all been programmed for such things. So high school state golf champion. To lead researcher. Just throw out some Caltech. I don't know. That's maybe good. Got Caltech. To seeing her thoughts project on a screen. Leading the team. After leading the team. To create. To download a human mind. Sure. Now we got to summarize back. We got at least some little. We built up Zoe as a character. So Zoe's a place. There's conflict. Zoe's dying. Mind's downloading. Heartbeats phase while the mind downloads. Her thoughts project from the screen. Flashing instances of Zoe life from high school. State champion. Let's gold. How about golf? High school state golf champion. To lead researcher at Caltech. Like that's a thing, because I've never been. Who knows? To seeing her thoughts, to sitting with her team. And witnessing. Her thoughts project on a screen. Okay, without a chip. And this is science fiction. So we're okay, even though this is present tense. We can always claim that deep inside, someplace underground, they actually have this technology. The beauty of science fiction. We're not doing time travel though, fortunately. So Zoe's heartbeat fades while her mind downloads. Her thoughts project from a screen, flashing instances of Zoe's life, from high school state champion to lead research at Caltech to sitting with her team and witnessing her thoughts project on a screen without a chip in her mind. Zoe's cancer. Sure, cancer is never going away. And it's kind of a horrid fate, and no one's going to feel the lesser of it. Everyone's going to hate it. No one's going to feel bad. People. Anyway, I think cancer is a good death. It'll get sympathy. Maybe is that a screen? I guess so. One of the last images, without her mind. Zoe's memory of hearing her cancer diagnosis. I don't know how to do this. Memory of her slumping. Let's show this. Slumping. If I'm going to have something project on a screen, I need to do a lot better showing than this. This is just instances of headlines or something like that. Some sort of label I would put on a memory, but if I don't even know what that memory is, the label is meaningless. And hopefully I can at least build up those labels enough to give some sort of show and tell. So Zoe's memory of her slumping on, what do they call those? Like the observation tables, the patient table. Slumping in her doctor's office. Hearing her cancer diagnosis. Freezes on the screen. Then a flash of memories. Think to her state. Okay, now let's see here. Maybe the tunnel does appear. Maybe that's just it. Maybe it's not so much a religious thing. Maybe the tunnel is just destined to exist as we download our minds. Maybe this is the discovery. Maybe not. Maybe. I don't, I could have this to where it succeeds. And then they realize that everyone dies and they're just getting downloaded someplace. That'd be an interesting little twist. Can I do that in Flash Fiction? I got an hour and 28 minutes left. Let's find out. Let's see where this goes. I'm not certain yet. At least have some sort of opening paragraph. It's a little bit bad. But it sets up a conflict. We have a character dying on a table, and we have some understanding of why that character might be on the table, but not fully. Joe's memory of her slumping in her doctor's office. Listening. Freezes on the screen. Slumping in her doctor's office and listening. That's just such a painfully bad sentence. So dies. So's body dies. And maybe this is where the tunnel and a bright. Let's do that. Let's see. I can't think. So where do I want the tunnel? Do I want it like at the last sentence? Maybe something like this. And a light tunnel. And a tunnel of light. I feel like this is I want the tunnel of light. The tunnel of light appears. I want this. A tunnel of light appears before Zoe. That's how I want to open it up. That's a decent hook. And then this finds Zoe. And the thought that the tunnel is only like the idea of the network in this instance, in this case. So Zoe's heartbeat fades while her mind downloads. Her thought projects from a screen flashing instances of Zoe's life from high school golf champion. From the final swing to win. A long sentence. To cheering. Let's give a little show, right? With to the handshake while accepting the position of lead researcher, to cheering with her team in the lab as I probably want to put semicolons and not commas because I got long sentences that I'm going to serialize. I'm just going to beat the reader over the head with these sentences, but hopefully their head won't get too wrong. So to cheering with her team in the lab as they witnessed her thoughts projected on a screen without a chip in her mind. Okay. And maybe that's like Just move my hand a little bit more. I don't think it's going to write. No, it's not. Okay. So Zoe is definitely dead. Now the definition of, like, are they going to capture? Well, someone's going to say, I don't know where this is going. I'm going to look back at the story elements and read these things aloud because I'm getting a little bit confused. I want to make sure at least I'm following this, because this is what I'm going to judge myself on the end to see if I can actually work within these story elements. So setting, time, present, sure. It's science fiction. It'll have present elements. Setting, main location, tunnel. So they're going to be, well, their body's in a lab, but they're going to be in this, they got to be in this tunnel. And this is the metaphor. Zoe's going to stand in the tunnel. So now I got to think about that too. Boy, it's like their spirit. I don't know. This is confusing. Conflict, person versus destiny. We're all destined to die, and this is just proof of it. Not proof of it necessarily. I think that's a poor choice of words. I don't know why I said it. Because I'm confused and lost right now. Quantity of primary characters, many. We at least got one. We got a team, but the primary characters, I guess I'm failing on that. Point of view, third. It still feels third. Present tense, yes. Science fiction, I think I'm there. Flash fiction, well, that remains to be seen. Still got to write a story. So if I had this tunnel of light here, back to the story. A tunnel of light appears before Zoe. Zoe's body dies. Oh, she stands in the tunnel of light. Whispers in the distant. Whispers in the glowing distance call to her. Okay, she's being downloaded. She's dead. I guess she's already been downloaded. Like, now her essence is a fact. I don't know, some distributed computing system. Somehow. They've managed to be able to find a way to be able to use NVIDIA's GPU processors and tap into their CUDA subprocessors to properly process a human mind. Science fiction. Whispers in the glowing distance call to her. So what's the besides downloading someone's mind before they die? You know, I had something about life and death, following the light tunnel, and this was going to be maybe the journey to see if they want to know that. Maybe they want to know, one, can they download someone's mind, and two, can they connect to the afterlife? Is there an afterlife? I mean, there is if you can download one's mind, I suppose. Maybe this is the thing that everyone calls. That's what I wanted to play into it. Light at the end of the tunnel. At the end of the tunnel of light. I'm going to call this story this right here. At the end of the tunnel of light. Maybe that'll help me realize what this story is supposed to be about, because I'm kind of clueless right now. I've got an hour and 21 minutes to figure it out. Flash fiction stories are typically between 600 and 800, so I think I want to stay within that. If I can hit 600, I'll consider myself lucky. And have 600 and still make sense and not just be a pile of words and a pile of junk. That's the difficult part. Junky words are easy to write. I do it every day. I have proof. Were whispers in the glowing distance call to her? That seems stupid. Where do I want to get to? Let's think of the end. I don't even know. Like, oh yeah, I think the realization that they don't get downloaded. Ooh, that could be it. I got to somehow play in the voices from outside And that's the difficult. This is flash fiction, so jumping back and forth between her thoughts and the main thing's supposed to take place in the tunnel. She's in the tunnel right now. And I was going to play off the whole idea. I'm going to still play off the idea of like the light at the end of the tunnel, people's, similar death experiences, or at least they've convinced themselves they're similar, and to form this sort of belief. When I die, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and I have to walk the tunnel, and that's where she's at right now. But this is a digital tunnel. She dies. So she's got to somehow, I want her to somehow realize that her mind's not downloaded. Maybe that's just it. Maybe that's how I could end it. Maybe you just endlessly walk the tunnel. Zoe walks the tunnel. I don't know. I'm just going to write some ending down. It's not going to be an ending, but I got to somehow reason and pull this back around. Like, what's the whole point? This is getting out of hand. For a flash fiction story, please. So Zoe walks the entire tunnel. Zoe walks the tunnel. Feeling a summer breeze. I don't know. From 65. She's not that old. Feeling silence of the COVID years. I mean, everyone's going to be able to relate to that, at least in this generation, these generations. Nah, that's lame. I don't know, man. Whispers in the glowing distance call to her. Zoe. Where are you at, Zoe? Now I can transition. Let's do that. And this is omniscient anyway. In the lab where Zoe's body lays dead. I need a name. Gunther. I don't think I've used... No, I feel like I've used the name Gunther recently. Liv... Something... Lex. Just call Lex. In the lab, Lex says... I don't want to say scientist Lex, because that just sounds stupid. Well, we got to indicate... We got to show some dimensions to this character in order to make them seem like they know what they're talking about. I think she's downloaded. And this would be the other characters that exist. Where you at, Zoe? And hopefully this won't be too hard to transition and get the understanding that the voice that she's... Now I could throw in 3 characters. Dead says Riley. That's a very generic name. And I've no males and females with the name Riley. So let's just go with Riley. So Zoe's body lays dead, says Lex. Where are you at, Zoe? As he traces his finger over the pulsing thought nebulas. Let's just make some stuff up, man, because we've downloaded somebody's minds and there's going to be some crazy ways to describe some of this stuff. Pulsing thought nebulas processing in. It's just some automatopoeia to make it sound really cool. Pulsing and nebulous processing pools of memory. Creating a tornado of digital thought. Whoa. And that's the tunnels, they're tornadoes, like you're getting sucked in. So now we have some sort of regional justification of why it's a tunnel, at least in this yeah, whatever it is. I think it might be rated a 1. This might become something that's just entirely poop. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going to go with this at all, to be honest. Is Riley dead? I think so. I feel so. In the lab where Zoe's body lays dead, Lex says, "Where are you at, Zoe?" As he traces his finger over the pulsating thought nebulators, processing pools of memory, creating a tornado of digital thought. "Dead," says Riley. The assistant, blah, blah, blah. Like, now I don't know. Now it's something. I'm just not sure what. So if we have this tunnel being created as she's dying and she's getting lost in the thought, she's trying to reconnect. The essence is gone. At some point, I want this to turn off. The way that I'm thinking of it right now, in my mind at least, is that I want to bridge that gap. Maybe hint that there is an afterlife. Maybe hint that it's just a larger processing unit that's being downloaded into simulation. But I want whatever process or experiment they're going to try to capture her mind, and this time fail. And then that way I can have at least some of the sentences right here in the lab, and then right back to Zoe at the end, what happens to her. Have these two characters, they're going to be showing and telling a lot. Body dies, then go back to Zoe, end it. Let's try that. Now I got to just put that into a story. That's all. So in the lab where Zoe's body lays dead, Lex says, "Where are you, Zoe?" As he traces his finger over the pulsing thought nebulas, processing pools of memory, creating a tornado of thought. Yeah. That's because that's how you do it. At least in the digital interface that I have to be able to look at people's thoughts. Dead. So that's odd. Is she alive? Is her mind alive? Maybe. So Zoe waves. Wait. Not Zoe. So Lex. Lex waves. Wiggles his fingers moving around digital pixels floating in the space. In the space before him. It's downloaded, maybe. This is... I don't know. I'm trying real hard to make this not as bad as it really is. And it really is bad. Thinking, maybe. So Lex wiggles his fingers, moving around the digital pictures floating in space before him. She's downloaded. It's downloaded. Like, they're scientists, but they're not heartless. She's downloaded, but now what? Okay, so I want to write back into her mind and follow it through. So that way I can at least begin to end this and figure out. Man. So what's an easy way to transition back? Wiggles finger, she's downloaded, but in a tunnel. And then I can transition back like this. In a glowing tunnel of I know I can see it, in the glowing tunnel of illuminated thought, of illuminated memories, like small dots on a television screen. I mean, they don't have, it's not like television screens are so much different these days than they are when they were just had like the CMYK small little pixels, cathode tubes. Yeah. So the glowing tunnel of illuminated memories, like millions of tiny screens flashing instances of the first kiss, the first bee sting, things you remember. What else? The last argument. With mom. Who hasn't had the last argument with mom they remember? Some other key. Her favorite coffee. The acidic sting of her favorite coffee. Oh, come on, fingers. And it wouldn't be in any order. So in the glowing tunnel of illuminated memories, like millions of blah, blah, blah. I gotta have what, like, where's my verb? Let's make this a complete sentence and not just like some statement. In a glowing tunnel of illuminated memories, like millions of tiny screens flashing instances of the first kiss, the first bee sting, the last argument, her acidic favorite coffee, her favorite coffee. I almost want to do something like this. Zoe walks the tunnel toward a brighter light. And guided her. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So I at least set up exterior to her, two people talking, and now I'm writing back into where her mind is here in the tunnel. I've at least established people outside, so I'll start to have their dialogue mix in with what she's thinking. I don't know how to end this. Like, I have an idea, but this is terrible. Maybe. We'll see. I really don't like this sentence right here, especially when I go serial and then I have like it fragmented. Like it just doesn't. I'd have to do something like this to even maybe have it easier to read. So now she's her Zoe walks the tunnel toward a brighter light. Her mind flashes. Her body floats. Her body's gone. her. Like that's her essence. Floats through the tunnel. This is, come on. Does she realize she's dead? I guess that's it. Is she cognizant of it? Or what happens when your mind gets... No, she's not. She's body's dead. Let's go back to here and put body's dead. And question mark. In a glowing tunnel illuminated memories like millions of tiny flashing instances of the first kiss, the first as though walks a tunnel. I guess it's just a construct. Walks a tunnel toward the bright light. And the construct her essence floats through the tunnel, forever traveling. Okay, I got it. Toward the bright light that never dims, no matter how. At the end of the tunnel of memories. There we are. And then there's going to be some shouting, but in that tunnel, let's see, in the tunnel of memories that fills with questions. From someplace. Why is she in a tunnel? I mean, I guess if you die, you know you're dying and you're a scientist. Like, wouldn't she be right now and aware of this? Like, that's the problem I've got. Like, she would know. And I got to get, like a silhouette of herself. Maybe that's what I could throw in. A tunnel of light at the end of the tunnel. A tunnel of light appears before Zoe as her I don't know, and her mind fades. Herself. Her body dies while she stands in a tunnel of light, full of herself. A tunnel of light casting... that's not too bad. Making her shadow. Oh, come on. Her body dies while she stands in a tunnel of light. That does makes no sense. That's just Zoe body dies while she stands in a tunnel of light, casting a shadow of herself. That sounds almost good. If I read it enough times, I might convince myself that it's a decent sentence, but let's leave it a little bit abstract for right now. Whispers in the glowing distance call to her. In the lab where Zoe's body lays dead, Lex says, "Where are you, Zoe?" as he traces his finger over the pulsing, nebulous processing pools of memory, creating a tornado of digital thought. "Body's dead," says Riley. "Is her mind alive?" Lex wiggles his fingers, moving around digital pixels that float in space. There's too many needs for commas. And floating in space before him. She's downloaded, but in a tunnel. In a glowing tunnel, illuminated memories like millions of illuminated memories like millions of tiny screens flashing, instances of the first kiss, the first bee sting, the last argument with her mom, her acidic her acidic flavor, her favorite, the acidic taste of the acidic flavor of her favorite coffee. Zoe walks the tunnel toward bright light. Brighter light illuminating her mind from body. Her essence floats through the tunnel, forever traveling toward the beam that dims in place and questions. Is her mind alive? Man. Are we going to capture life after death? And that could be done so many ways. I don't know where this is going. This is feeling, I don't know. Let's just push. It's better to finish a bad story than finish no story at all. Everything can be edited or thrown away. I think. Uh-oh. I don't want to delete that. There we go. Okay. All right, so Body's dead, says Riley. Is her mind alive? Are we going to capture life after death? Lexus wiggles his fingers, moving around the digital pictures she's downloaded in a tunnel. And maybe just leave it open. So this is a hypothesis. I think that they were expecting to get the download. And let's just up that. They want to try to capture life after death. Think they're doing it, but in the literal sense. Meaning the download of the mind, and maybe they exist beyond. Maybe end it to where their experiment fails, and then it adds. It go from the science fiction to the fantasy, though. That'd be the problem. Meaning like they're, their experiments, the scientists fell, but there is life after death. And it wouldn't be science fiction. It'd be more like a faith story or fantasy. In a glowing tunnel of illuminated memories, like millions of tiny screens flashing, this is the first kiss, she's in a tunnel. She's constructed a construct. And that's just where I want to go. I mean, is that where I want to go? Like, her essence floats through the tunnel, forever traveling towards a bright light in some place. So I have her traveling there, but now I got to somehow incorporate the talking from the outside to get it inside sort of effortlessly. So it shows that she's also being influenced still somehow. She is dead. She's trapped in the machine. They're helping her through. Or maybe it just... fudge. Is this done? No. They've succeeded. This is the shortest, most boring flash fiction story in the world. I wouldn't even call it a flash. It'd be more like a... yeah. He's dead, so they've captured it. I gotta set it up better if I'm gonna do this. Their purpose at the beginning. Of course, I could just have that sort of unravel. I don't have to do it like I do every other flash fiction story where I set up every single aspect of the story at the beginning and then just spend the rest of the time solving or resolving that conflict that gets set up in that location. This does too actually have a, pushing lines of the purpose behind this. If you drop in this thing like, oh, we're going to capture life after death, I do a says, I hate that. I couldn't put it there. So let's do this. Let's put this. Okay, so she's in the tunnel. They know she's in a tunnel. They're wondering if it's life after death. Man. And I have her fading from the idea, the connection of her essence, her body as we speak here. So it's sort of hard for me to imagine that if she's in this state, she's dead, she's downloaded, our bodies ourselves and our minds ourselves, because of the way that they're so attached to us, they also ground us in some sort of objective state. If your mind is then uploaded into a machine or downloaded or dead, say when you die, heaven's a computer, you're no longer contained by this very objective, at least the thing that we all consider objective, which is a single processing unit. It could spread out and dissipate. So she's losing in that state, at least what I would theorize or hypothesize if I die. And even if I get downloaded or there is an afterlife, I'll be dead. I won't be the way I am now. Would I be able to hear someone's voice and care? That would be the connection, would now be the digital thing. So I could at least have this paragraph of where her mind's starting to sprawl through the data which creates her, and then maybe gets pulled back through the connection of these voices that are still coming in. Because naturally, if I were to create something that were able to download a person's mind, I'd have a way to be able to communicate with them. That'd be like the second feature of this downloading process. Okay, let's write back. And this can be the voice trigger. So I'm going to get it right from this paragraph to the next paragraph. So her essence floats through the tunnel, forever traveling toward the bright light, that dims at the end of the tunnel, the bright that doesn't dim, that dims her, that dims her shadow at the end of the tunnel of memories. And then I could just have these sort of and then have her name, the name. I think that's the most subjective thing that I can think of, right? Or objective, like the name. I mean, it's the next realest thing we have besides our bodies. We seem to attach ourselves to it. So the calling out of her name, Zoe. Zoe. Because I guess that's right now. I'm kind of like, because this concept of the light at the end of the tunnel is such a visual sensation, rarely is it talked about during when people say they see a bright light at the end of the tunnel. Do they really talk about having heard things? It's a little bit biased. I mean, I think vision's our most powerful sense, and we have allow ourselves to get lied to ourselves and think it's the most overwhelming thing that exists. And I have a lot of that, so at least I have sense. Okay, so Zoe echoes, and this a little frustrated. Flashing memories, body dies. Okay. I should have it because right now if I'm gonna have sound, and that's this could be like a visual and a sensory tunnel. And let's just get more of that so the sound sort of creeps through. So Zoe speaks through it could be a lot of noise, right? Through the laughter and what are some other shouts? Laughter and shouts. Laughter and shouts from arguments and flirting. Let's not go arguments, from conversations, from echo through questions. Yes, and I need to be building up this character a little bit, but I need to have it part of the glowing tunnel. The glowing tunnel of illuminated memories, of illuminated and audio memories. Central memories. How's that? Tunnel of central memories. There we go. Central memories, like tiny screens. Now I just went back to audio, like tiny flashes. A tunnel of tiny, like now I made all senses a physical thing. Millions of flashes, millions of instances. Millions of memories. What time is it? 48 minutes left. Millions of memories from the first kiss, the first bee sting, the third bee sting. Zoe floats. We're now floating. We've already distinguished they're now sort of having them. Floats a tunnel, floats a central tunnel. There we go. Soch a central tunnel toward a brighter light, illuminating the body, illuminating her mind from body. Her essence floats through the tunnel, forever traveling toward the bright that dims. A loud, smooth and bright. I don't want it to be rough. So at least loud though is, that's coarse, but so is bright. The loud, bright. Numbing at the end of the tunnel. Zoe speaks through the laughter. So let's not speak it. Let's go Zoe stings from the numb. Okay, so we're going to have the name attach themselves. Somehow mine downloaded. Zoe sings from the numb. I've not died. Fiction is being able to lie real well. The more nonfiction you know, the better you can lie. I've never died before, so it's the fiction of it. Or never even had faith in some sort of tunnel, or it just is like that instance. I don't want to, I mean, I prefer not to live it so I can write better fiction about the experience. So let's just fictionalize a little bit more and lie a little bit better than I am right now, because it seems a bunch of stuff. And I'm not even that far in. This is not even, got 45 minutes left, but it can get something. Maybe not. Are we going to capture life after death? She's downloaded, but in a tunnel. Is this the tunnel? Zoe sings from the numb. The name tries to collect. The construct of a name dims the tunnel, dims the brightness, the loud bright, quiets, dims and quiets the loud bright. Bringing shape to the shadow of Zoe. Lost in the cluster of information flowing from data. Let's just go there. The construct of a name dims and quiets as the loud bright. Bringing shapes to the shadow of Zoe. Not shape, just shape. Zoe. She's there. Do I want to put spoke from beyond the tunnel? Sure. It's just loud bright to her now. There is no construct of tunnel. It's a loud bright. And maybe I should case that to make it seem really important. Now it's a thing. Be like heaven. Instead of heaven, whatever her data construct is right now, just attribute it to some sort of physical sense. And in this case, she's labeling it the loud bright. And I'm going to put cases on that so I can make it a thing. That then got from, not bite. Let's do this. Hopefully there'll be something to read. I'll read this aloud, and I don't know if the story is going to hit, but it'll be something. Okay, so the construct of the name dims and quiets the loud bright, brings shape to the shadow of Zoe. She's there, Zoe feels, spoke from beyond the loud bright. So they wanted to go beyond. They've already been able to download people's mind. This is science fiction. So we're going to use a little bit of, I'm not even going to say how. Like, she doesn't necessarily need a chip in her head. If you're really good, and if we really want to get into science fiction, and not that I haven't wrote years ago science fiction where people get things put in their head to be able to communicate with other people. I mean, the true science would be not needing the chip in the mind. Just scan. And so this is probably more of it'd be more of a scanning. So she's been downloaded. The life after death thing's always going to be left up in the air. I think I might end it that way, though. I might have Zoe being the loud bride and be uncertain whether she's exists, if she's in the afterlife or she's a processing unit. I may leave that ambiguous. I may be able to set that up to have those voices come through. And set it up to leave it to be ambiguous. Is she dead? Is she downloaded? I now need to be able to try to have the two characters that I very quickly introduced and probably don't have enough, maybe not enough time spent building up those characters. This is flash fiction. The more characters you have, the harder it is to actually give them some sort of dimension to make them seem real. Small mannerisms do always help that. But we bounce back in, and now I got to throw them in as the voice of potentially still being downloaded and right. Words spoke from beyond the bright. The talk like mumbling, and then I can attach sort of like holy whispers, not like holes. I think this is how you spell holy, right? Holy whispers. The talk like holy whispers, because, I mean, even if you don't grow up believing in an afterlife, it's such an infused part of society. It's really hard not to think about it, for me at least, as a possibility. I mean, during infinity, in all dimensions, everything will occur. So who knows? But in this case, I'm going to say Zoe's not necessarily atheist, but heavily agnostic, still open-minded to the fact that it could be. So the idea of like when you die, but she would also know she's possibly getting downloaded, so she's very aware of it, but she's never been downloaded before. I mean, there's that too. And I can only fictionalize about that. I've thought about it a lot. I've wrote about it a lot for many years. So it still seems to me like if you were to get downloaded because you don't have that body attachment, your mind would start to scatter. So that's the state that she's in if she's getting downloaded. If she's dying and she's going to the light, she's dying and forgetting herself and her body. So let's mix those two things in. And then at the end, leave it ambiguous. She might be there. She might be dead. And maybe the lab ride is a new home. All right, so let's write the end now. I got 36 minutes left. I'll leave at least, if I can do this in 30 minutes, at least 6 minutes to read it aloud and see if this is a story that I will actually put on YouTube. It's been a while for a stochastic fiction game. Maybe I'll rate it a 2, maybe a 3. So the loud bright dims. And so I'm going to leave the name be the attaching thing, because even if, whether this is proof of existence to be downloaded, this is how they come around and reconstruct themselves, or the afterlife in this heaven thing where you're now not you anymore and you're in this, ultimate computing environment, supposedly doing whatever you want. Who knows? It's fiction. Until it becomes nonfiction, for me at least. So the lab bright will dims, leaving processing Zoe, like not processing Zoe, Bright light dims upon Zoe. Now, if I were to die, and I were either going to be uploaded, downloaded, whatever you want to call it, download in this case, because you're pulling, right? I'm not pushing. So being downloaded, losing that sense of body, you're still going to have your name that you're very much attached to, and you're going to have whatever identity you heavily relied upon, whether you attached your gender very heavily to your identity. I think most of us have in some way. So do I want to use those pronouns? And that would be sort of like that construct that is literally does not matter anymore. Because once your mind leaves your body, like your body is not as significant as it once was, nor is it defining as it once was. But it's such an influence, the older you are at least, that it would be hard to detach yourself from that, at least for me. So I'm just going to say Zoe's in that same state at this point in time. So light bright dims upon Zoe. So I'm still going to use the pronoun she, even though her mind is now processing, because she still heavily identifies. It's been a heavy influence lit, and she's not let go of that quite yet. She or maybe they, she or maybe they. Now, I don't want to process as they, I don't know. I'm going to leave it as they be, maybe as they be. Or maybe us. I don't know yet. I'm going to wait till that. But so I've a little bit lost track of where I was going with this. So I just got to talk this out loud so I can kind of get back there. I need to now have the talk like holy whispers. Fade the walls. So she's now in either heaven or digital wonderland, trying to reconstruct this new being of self. Now that it's lost the processing unit that it's been using for, we're going to say 40 years. And detaching from that reality would be hard. Like, that's probably the most difficult thing I could foresee, if I could transfer my mind out of itself and then somehow right back to it. I mean, that's the trick too. It's very easy to read the mind. I think the writing to it, it's going to be tricky. Like, find that central input somehow. Text is now a sense. Science fiction day for a stochastic fiction game. So talk like holy whispers fade. Talk like holy whispers fade the walls. Fade the walls. Is that? Quiet the walls. Quiet the walls of the tunnel. And what's another sense that's not sight, not bright? And we have quiet, so we have sound. And sweeten. Everyone, I mean, most people like sweets. They'd prefer to have them. Of course, their body may not like them to have them. Diabetes is a thing with this bodies. The talk like holy whispers quiet the walls of the tunnel and sweeten the end. To savor another. To savor self. Zoe. I think Let's just write something. I'm sick of talking. So Zo, the objective, the body. Zo, the name, the body, and the body, the embodiment. Embodiment. I'm just going to type out what I think embodiment spells like and just move on. So the name, Zo, the name and the embodiment of the being, once of a body that lay dead, loops this reality to a fuzzy to the scenes of the tunnel. That shape, a shadow to a silhouette, a real thing, because shadow is just a casting of light from a body. A silhouette is light hiding the body, but still representative of the actual body itself and not a casting of the thing. So let's go that. I'm just throwing that out till you go from I'm just going to go with that. That's how I'm spelling silhouette today. Into a silhouette. And then a shape of sense. Okay. So she's reshaping whether it's the digital heaven or the spiritual heaven. We're just going to cast that in my mind right now so I can at least a she or maybe they be in some after in a digital or spiritual. Spiritual, sure, afterlife. Let's go there. Why not? Science, fiction. Okay, so Zo, the name and the embodiment of the being once a body, and the embodiment of a being once a body that lay dead. I guess the mind's technically dead too, right? The old mind, the body and the mind, the body and mind. Because this is not the aspect of preserving the mind. It's not like they took the mind out and they kept the brain alive. The brain's toast. The machine that runs the thing is kaput. So Zo, the name and the embodiment of the being once a body, and the embodiment. Let's get rid of that. Of a body, the name of a being. Let's use less words. Of a being, of a body. I don't mind that. And mind that lay dead. Loops this reality. Loops their existence. In the shape of a tunnel. Constructed from a trope about life after death. Okay, whoa. Let's just whack the reader over the head with a sentence. It's kind of long. It's kind of vague. It's a good ending for this very vague story. Who knows? Conflict exists. Conflict may be resolved. 25 minutes left. 25 minutes. Then we'll read this thing aloud. Maybe I'll try to give voices. I'm trying to get better at that. But we're going to see if that's going to be possible for today. So I'm going to read this again because I think this is the end. I don't think I have any more words I want to put. So I'm going to read this last sentence, the last few paragraphs, so that I don't So I pay as much attention to them as I have the beginning, which often I don't do. Zo sings from the num. The contract of a name dims. The contract of the label. Dims and quiets the loud bright. Bringing shape to the shadow of Zo. She's there. Zo feels. She's there, speaks. And outwardly voice and out. Worldly and outworldly. An outworldly voice. That's a lot to throw on. Omniscient voice. I think I'm going to do omniscient. I don't know how to spell. Omniscient, sure. Omniscient. Omniscient, sure. Let's just speaks an omniscient voice. Zo feels there. Spoke from beyond the loud bright. The talk like holy whispers quiets the walls of the loud bright. We've now labeled this thing. And sweeten the end to save herself. Sweeten the end. Sweeten the end. That was supposed to be like dimming in the end, right? Because the bright light, I wanted to get away from just the sense of sight. Tunnel, bright light, not symphony, crescendo. Like, that would be if I was really into sound. That would be my tunnel of bright light. After the crescendo, I don't know what that's called. I'm not studying sound these days, at least not how to write it, so I can try to be more fictional about it. So the talk like holy whisper quiets the walls of the bright, loud bright, and sweeten the end to save herself. Zo, the name of a being of a body and mind that lay dead, loops their existence in the shape of a tunnel, constructed from a trope about life after death that shapes a shadow into a silhouette and then a shape of sense called Zo. A shape of historical senses. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's something. That much is true. Drinking some water. Let me read the end one more time. And then we'll read the parameters. We'll read this aloud. I'll read it aloud. We'll judge it. And see how good I did at the game. And there's 21 minutes left. Now, do I include this? Like, I totally forgot that existed as words. So let's clean up this. Let's get rid of stuff I'm not going to use. The loud bright dims upon Zo. No, this is like, stupid, almost. The loud bright dims upon Zo as she or maybe they be in a digital or spiritual afterlife. Maybe not. I mean, it's flash fiction. I don't have a lot of words, so I might as well just have some like ending tell, because this is like I'm not showing. Like this previous paragraph of Zo, the name of a being of a body and mind that lay dead, loops their existence in the shape of a tunnel constructed from a trope about life after death that molds, not shape, because I don't want to that molds a shadow into a silhouette, then created of a silhouette of and a being birthed from historical senses. Okay. I don't know. Builds, not loops. Creates. Loops is such like a process, and that would not. I like this as the ending. It's more vague. I mean, we're talking about what happens after we, as humans, think happens after what we've called this thing called death. And no one's going to be able to, not right now at least, truly have a record of it, to be able to have some nonfiction way to explain it. So might as well leave it fuzzy and fictional. Let's read parameters and let's read this thing aloud and be done. I got 18 minutes left. Won't worry about the buzzing that will happen when that timer goes off for this stopwatch, but I don't think it's going to take 80 minutes to read this thing. Okay. For today's stochastic fiction game with story elements, setting time present, setting main location tunnel, conflict person versus destiny, quantity of primary characters mini, point of view third, tense present tense, genre science fiction, format flash fiction. The story is tentatively called At the End of the Tunnel of Light. No. That's what it's going to be called. That's better. Yes, because that's just better. Because I use it in the story. Anyway, we're still playing this game, but the story, until it actually gets published further than this, until I read it at least, it is now tentatively called The Story at the End of the Loud Bright. At the end of the Loud Bright, a tunnel of light appears before Zoe. Zoe's heartbeat fades while her mind downloads. Her thought projects from a screen, flashing instances of Zoe's life, from the final swing to win the high school state golf championship to the handshake while accepting the position of lead researcher at Caltech, to cheering with her team in the lab as they witnessed her thoughts project on a screen without a chip in her mind. Zoe's memory of her slumping in her doctor's offices and listening to her diagnosis freezes on the screen, then flashes a memory thinking of her state. Zoe's body dies while she stands in a tunnel of light, casting a shadow of herself. Whispers in the glowing distance call to her, "Where are you, Zoe?" In the lab where Zoe's body lays dead, Lex says, "Where are you, Zoe?" As he traces his fingers over the pulsing thought nebulous, processing pools of memory created a tornado of digital thought. "Body's dead," says Riley. "Is her mind alive?" Are we going to capture life after death? Lex wiggles his fingers, moving around digital pixels that float in the space before him. She's downloaded, but in a tunnel? Riley shrugs. Is this the tunnel? In a glowing tunnel of sensual memories, like millions of memories from the first kiss, the first bee sting, the third bee sting, the last argument with mom, the acidic flavor of her favorite coffee. Zoe floats a sensual tunnel toward a brighter light, illuminating her body from mind. Her essence floats through the tunnel forever, traveling toward the loud bright, mumbling at the end of the tunnel of memories. Zoe sings from the numb. The construct of the label of a body and mind dims and quiets loud bright, bringing shape to the shadow of Zoe. She's there, speaks an omniscient voice. Zoe feels there, spoke from beyond the loud bright. The talk like holy whispers quiets the walls of the loud bright and sweetens the end of save herself. Zoe? Zoe, the name of a being of a body and mind that lay dead, creates their existence in the shape of a tunnel constructed from a trope about life after death that molds a shadow into a silhouette in a being birthed from historical records. The sense is called Zoe. That was At the End of the Loud Bright. I'm going to rate this now. Given the story elements that were called out, I don't think it's 1. I mean, I do think it's at least 2. I think I could find someone that, whatever consideration, what you call love, would say, this is not, I like this. I think it's 3. I think I can not necessarily rewrite it, but maybe. Maybe between a 3 and a 4. I think it needs some editing. Possibly. I'm feeling generous today. I'll go 3. Rewrite it to get rid of the smell. It's a little bit stinky, maybe. But I'll read it probably sometime. But for today, with minutes left, let's go ahead and officially end the game. And I do that by archiving it, giving out a rating, publish a story written during the game, rated at a 3. And that's, well, the stochastic fiction game for today. I hope, let's go out and create something. It doesn't have to be writing. Just try to enjoy.